So Chrono Odyssey beta just finished, and what an absolute roller coaster. From over 1 million people signing up for the open beta this weekend, to all the hype that was around the trailer, to the absolute dumpster fire that occurred on this weekend. So where did everything go so wrong? What's so terrible about the game? And did they do even one thing right? Well, for starters, they are blatantly copying New World. New World's fortress have been spotted in Chrono Odyssey. Basically a copy and paste, the exact same thing, the design, the layout, just with Unreal Engine 5 graphics sprinkled on top. That's basically the only difference between the fortress from New World and Chrono Odyssey. So blatant, I guess, theft, which is kind of gross in my opinion. You can just say whatever you want, that this is just it's a closed beta. You weren't supposed to see this because the only way you were able to see this was by exiting the world border, but I don't think that really matters in this case when this is just blatant theft. It's one thing to be inspired by a game and to take inspiration from a game just like New World, but it's another thing to completely and utterly steal assets from another game. That's not the only thing Chrono Odyssey has pretty much took from New World. Point being, the quest layout and along with the gathering system from New World have been heavily inspired Chrono Odyssey to take some of those assets and implement them into their game. Except that they've done all these things worse than New World. It's basically the Temu of New World. And we all see how good New World is doing right now. Another problem is their crafting and their introduction to crafting and gathering is absolutely horrid compared to New World, even though they are taking inspiration from the game. They didn't seem to take any inspiration from how to make your crafting, your gathering, and your introductory quests good because they were absolutely terrible. This game makes you get lost in the first 10 minutes of playing. You don't know what you're even doing or where you have to go. On top of that, I didn't know how to refine something until I was 10 hours into playing the game because the menu is so difficult to find because it's not at a normal smelting area. It's at an area in which you craft weapons, which makes no sense. And they never explain this to you in the game. They may be saying, well, I overcame this, but that doesn't matter because it's still bad game design. And I can guarantee you a lot of people had an issue with this too at the start. They were confused. They had no idea how to refine the stuff they were gathering. It was never explained to them. And I feel like this is just basic game mistakes that they should be teaching you in the first 20 minutes of playing. A good product is a product that is easy to understand and enjoyable to use, like an iPad or an iPod. It's very easy to pick up an iPad. A 5-year-old can do it, but it doesn't mean it's not a complicated product and doesn't have a lot of things to it. It just means the person who made it did a very good job at making this incredibly complex product easy to understand, which Chrono Odyssey I feel like fails at miserably. Everything they do in this game makes it feel like it's overcomplicated, hard to understand, and you just have no idea what you're doing half the time. Case in point, this quest. This quest tells you to go to this point on the map where you're located at this house. This house is not actually a quest, and where you're supposed to go is below it. Now, is there any indication of this? No. There's no indication you have to go below. You have to figure that out on yourself. Now, you may be saying skill diff. I don't think that's a skill diff. I think that's a bad game design. I think where people are forced to sit here and figure this out for 5 or 10 minutes before they realize, oh, wait, let me go over here. It's not really fun. It's boring. And I don't think that's something that should be in the game. Something else Chrono Odyssey did is they have these enemies with different colors. There's yellow, orange, red, and purple. Now they never explain this through the game or what each color means. All they do is they send you out into the world and you have to die to the enemies and gauge which is which. I feel like they could easily have explained this to maybe a quest or you go into a different zone that's too high level and the game warns you about it. Just a simple indicator pops up on your screen saying, yo, this is a way higher level area than where you're supposed to be. You should turn back now, adventure, or something like that, but they never do. It's just the game. I get the no hand-holding style because they kind of want to take aspects from Elden Ring and the Soul series here as well, but it's not Elden Ring, it's not Dark Souls. A lot of games have some hand holding and are very successful. And I feel like an MMO is a game that should have a bit more hand holding than a Souls game. When people play a Souls game, they know what they're getting into and they know what to expect. When they're playing an MMO, most people like a little bit more hand holding and explanation. When you finally get to your first quest, you enter this boss room. Now, the first boss you fight in this game is incredibly difficult for MMO standards. For a Souls game, I would say it's above average difficulty boss. This boss will definitely kill you at least 5 to 10 times. And you can either run outside and say, well, I'm not supposed to be here, which you're not. It's supposed to be like it's supposed to make you turn back and you're supposed to go level up and come back and beat the boss. Now, does the game explain this to you in any way? No. Once again, it doesn't tell you anything about what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to figure that out on yourself. I guarantee you a lot of players quit after fighting this first boss because of how difficult it was. And this is what the game is telling you to do. And I feel like a lot of people just said, well, I'm supposed to beat this boss, but I can't. It's too hard. And then people just quit. They said this game is too difficult. I don't want to play it. And it's just a huge filter, which reduces the player count. And I think filters like this are fundamentally bad to game design. A good way to design this is if you die to the boss after maybe 3 or 4 times, it teleports you out and say, adventure, you're not ready for this. You're supposed to go down south, get some better gear, come back when you're around level 5. And then the boss would be 10 times easier, and you probably only take a couple tries to beat it. Let's talk about graphics. Chrono Odyssey graphics are like, we went back to 2015, and I'm playing the Elder Scrolls Online. The graphics feel like they turned sharpened all the way up, and that's all they did. The performance is horrendous. I'm lagging all the time, no matter where I'm going. I'm playing on basically the lowest settings, and my frames are still dropping into the Mariana Trench. There is nothing I can do here to really increase my frame rate when I'm in a city, so the performance is just terrible. The lighting is horrendous. Like, this has to be the worst lighting I've ever seen in a video game. When you are in the city, you are getting blinded by the lights here. The sun is basically 5 feet in front of you, shining down your skull, and you can't see anything. It's just pure brightness. And then if you go to another part, it's pure shadow, darkness. There's no reflections. There's really nothing anywhere. Now, there is one boss in this game that I think highlights everything wrong with this game's lighting, and that is this boss right here, the third boss that you will fight along your main story quest. If you look at the arena, it is half kind of bright and half completely dark. If the boss ever enters the dark zone, you can never see him doing anything. His animations are completely hidden. There is nothing you can even see. There is no counterplay. You cannot see the boss's animations clearly. Even when he's in the lighter part of the arena, it is still very difficult to see what he is doing because of how the lighting and the effects work in this game. It's just, the visuals are just terrible. I don't understand how the lighting is so bad in this game. Along with the textures, there's just so many issues with the graphical quality and the performance of this game. It's insane. On top of that, the audio is sometimes very just hit or miss. Sometimes you'll go to the zone, I'll be playing at 100%. Other times you'll walk 10 feet to the right and suddenly drops to 50%. It's like, what is going on here? Now, what about actual combat, gameplay? The combat is actually, I think, the only thing in Chrono Odyssey does that is good. I actually enjoy the combat. Some of the weapons feel worse than others, but the chain blades here feel phenomenal. I must admit, in my humble opinion, that Chrono Odyssey did very good. The chain blades feel super fun to use. They feel very responsive, very good, and they're very enjoyable to use. Now, the other weapons the Berserker gets, not as good, not as fleshed out, but the chain blades did hit. So the combat does have potential in this game, and I can definitely see a place where the combat does do really well. The action combat does feel nice. There is definitely some glaring issues, like you sometimes can't move during animations, which I feel like you should always have freedom of movement in games. Even if it's very little, like 10% speed, it's just nice to be able to control your character a little bit when you're doing any type of animation or ability. It just makes the game feel better to play. Even if it's not at 100% movement speed, I still think everything you do should have some wiggle room with movement. It just makes the game feel more responsive, more fluid. How about vaulting? Vaulting feels really janky and bad, but that can definitely be improved upon. It's just not good. The movement's just not that good right now, but I feel like it can be easily fixed. Along with the running animation, looks like you are running like, like you got somewhere to go, bro. Like your arms are way out there and you are trucking it. And you have people flying through the ground. You have this old man creepily walking towards the camp, like a homeless guy. Like, there's definitely some weird animations and some things that need to be improved on, but it's just a beta, guys, and I think everything's gonna be fine at launch. No. The beta is a very good indicator of how good the game will be at launch. Now, I think they can definitely refine some things, but there are fundamental game loop problems and fundamental, like, core aspects of the game that are just designed improperly, i.e. the quest example I mentioned earlier, boss example. Another thing with the bosses actually is the abilities that some of the bosses do. They have like this AoE on the ground that just does damage and it's impossible to see. It's not clear. Like, it's not a clear indication. Like, I have to squint my eyes, get my magnifying glass out, even to see these AoEs on the ground. Like, that is horrible game design, very unfun, and just to be a clear indication that this is danger zone, I should not go there. I will say they do have like these unique dungeon trials where you have to solve puzzles and do like parkour. I think that's fun, and I think more MMOs should definitely copy this. This is really fun. I enjoyed this. Very refreshing than just killing groups of mobs. I really enjoy the parkour aspect of the game, problem solving aspects of some of the dungeons. I think this is all really good. Or the trial dungeons where you have to do 4 things in a row. You get like a big reward when you do all 4. Like, this stuff is cool, and they definitely have some good ideas mixed in here, but there's just too much ass to let these good ideas shine. Like the Chronotector. The Chronotector is this device that allows you to manipulate time. You can use it to stop time on certain enemies, not bosses though. Bosses would be too OP, haha. But you can also use it to summon the bosses that you've defeated along the way, just like in Elden Ring with the Mimic tier. Seems to be that Chrono Odyssey takes from a lot of different games. It's just one big copycat game, but the Teemo variant of it. But anyways, the Chronotector also allows you to do certain quests because you need to use the time manipulation to see trails that happened in the past. Now, do I like this? No, this is very annoying and tedious. Plus, when you use this ability, you're like getting an epilepsy because of how much it flashbangs you. The game's been getting a lot of backlash, and the game director responded, so let's see what they had to say about it. Said they're further along, and this is a old build, and they're much further along than they are now. I don't buy that for a second. That is complete bullshit. If they were so much further along and there's such a better build going on, they would have waited until they could showcase that build, and that build was more comfortable to be tested on than the monstrosity that we got this weekend. So I think that is copium and a lie. To be honest, I think Chrono Odyssey is at least 3 to 4 years away from release. If they are going to release it and they want it to be successful, 2028 or 2029 is the earliest in which I think this game should release based on the state of this beta. Even if they are more further along in which they claim, it still should take 3 years to release it because these are fundamental game problems that are in the game. Like the quest design, the lack of communication, the lack of hand-holding, the difficulty of certain areas, the horrific lighting. Like, these things all need to be improved upon drastically. There is no way this game is anywhere within 3 years of release, and I would be shocked if they did it before then. And if they did, I would say it's a cash grab or a money grab because there's just no way this will be a functional game in less than 3 years. So with that, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did find this helpful, like and subscribe, and peace.